I didn't cheat. I just reconnected with someone who actually gets me, she said proudly. So I moved out while she was at his house. Now her friends cut her off and she's posting sad poems on Instagram. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I used to think that loyalty meant something. That if you showed up every day, loved someone, fully supported them, even when it was hard, they'd hold on to you, choose you, appreciate you. Turns out some people see loyalty as a given, a doormat, a backup plan until they find something more exciting. Her name was Bella. We were together for a little over 2 years and we lived together for the last 10 months of it. When we first met, she told me she'd been burned by an emotionally unavailable man and just wanted someone consistent, someone who'd make her feel safe. I thought I could be that guy. I was that guy. I'm a remote graphic designer. I work from home, make decent money, and live a quiet life. I'm not flashy. I don't have a motorcycle or six-pack abs or a mysterious past. But I show up, I cook. I remember birthdays. I asked how your day was, and I actually listened to the answer. In the beginning, Bella made me feel like that was enough. She used to wrap her arms around me from behind while I worked and whisper, "You're the calm I never knew I needed." She was trying to write a novel, so I paid most of the bills while she focused on her creative process. I never made her feel guilty about it. I cooked, cleaned, gave her space when she needed it, and encouragement when she doubted herself. Looking back, I can't figure out the exact moment things shifted, but I remember the signs. She started going out more. Riding nights turned into wine nights at her friend Tash's. Then she began dressing differently, not just nicer, but like she was trying to look like someone she wasn't before. Crop tops, heels, the whole vibe. Then came the phone secrecy. She'd tilt her screen away from me, turn off notifications, laugh at texts she wouldn't explain. I tried to brush it off. Everyone deserves privacy, but the gut feeling never left me. One night I was walking past the living room and I heard a guy's voice on speaker. She quickly ended the call when she saw me. I asked, "Who was that?" She didn't even hesitate. "Oh, that's Eric. We were friends in college. He reached out last month. We've just been talking about old times." I raised an eyebrow. "You never mentioned him before." "Well, it's not like it's a big deal," she shrugged. "He just gets me. You know how some people just understand where you've been? He went through a lot of the same stuff." I tried to keep my voice neutral. "Are you saying I don't understand you?" She gave this tired sigh. The kind people give when they want to shut down a conversation without technically refusing to engage. "Daniel, don't make this into a thing. You're amazing, but sometimes I need emotional support from people who've actually experienced trauma. You've lived a pretty stable life. I'm just saying." Eric listens without trying to fix me. That line stuck with me for days. Not because I thought she was right, but because I realized I was suddenly being put in the emotionally inferior category for what? Being calm, being reliable. Another time we were making dinner together and I asked if she wanted to go visit my parents the next weekend. She got quiet. Then she said, "I don't know if I'm in the right headspace space to be around people who expect me to perform, especially your mum." That was weird. My mum loved her. She saw my reaction and added, "I just feel like everyone around you sees me as the lucky one. But maybe I want to feel lucky too." I should have seen what was happening. I was being slowly devalued. Like her brain was running a quiet campaign to convince her that the safe, steady guy she used to love was now some kind of prison. But I still didn't think she'd cheat. That's why the conversation that ended us still feels burned into my brain. She was sitting on the couch, scrolling her phone, smiling to herself. I'd just come back from grocery shopping. I tossed her the protein bar she liked and said, "Hey, I got the ones you like." She looked up like I'd interrupted a movie. Then she said it casually, like it was weather. "Hey, just so you know, I didn't cheat. I just reconnected with someone who actually gets me." I stood there, bag in hand. "What, Eric?" She said, eyes back on her screen. "We kissed, but it wasn't cheating. It was just closure. You wouldn't understand because you've never had anything real and messy." I didn't say anything. I just stared at her. She put the phone down and leaned back. "I'm not breaking up with you. I just need space to process everything. I've been feeling really confused. I thought we were soulmates, but lately I feel smothered." "Smothered?" I asked. "You're just always there, always nice, always steady. I don't know who I am when I'm not being held together by someone else. I need to figure that out with someone who actually gets the chaos." That was her word, chaos. Like it was a compliment, a goal. I didn't scream. I didn't ask how long it had been going on. I didn't demand explanations. I just nodded. "Okay." She blinked. "Wait. Okay. What?" "Okay," I said again. "You go do what you need to do." She looked surprised. Maybe she expected begging, anger, a dramatic argument so she could feel justified in blaming me for her choice, but I didn't give her that. That weekend, she packed a bag and went to clear her head. She told me she'd be at Tasha's. I knew she was going to Eric's. While she was gone, I packed my things, cleaned the entire apartment, left her keys on the coffee table, and moved into my brother's guest room. I didn't leave a note. I didn't block her either. I just vanished from her life. Because if someone can look you in the eyes and call betrayal closure, you owe them nothing, not even a reaction. I think the silence bothered her more than any argument ever could have. The night she came back, I was already long gone. I had moved the last of my stuff out while she was at Eric's. Took only what was mine, left the apartment spotless. The keys were neatly placed on the coffee table right next to the now expired candle I bought her last winter. She called me at 7:42 p.m. I didn't answer. Then she texted Bella, "What the hell is this? Where are you? Why are your drawers empty?" Then a minute later, "Bella, seriously, this is immature. Daniel, I told you I needed space. This is a huge overreaction." I didn't reply. 10 minutes passed. "Bella, so you just leave while I'm gone, like a coward. This is abandonment. I was vulnerable and you knew that." That word, abandonment. The same woman who had just kissed another man and talked about reconnecting like it was therapy now wanted to paint herself as the one betrayed. I left my phone on silent. A few days later, my brother Matt asked me if I was okay. I said, "I don't know what I feel yet." That was the truth. It wasn't rage. It wasn't heartbreak. It was something duller. Like I'd been slowly replaced by a version of myself she didn't even respect. Bella kept texting. "Bella, this isn't what I wanted. I didn't leave you. You left me. I'm not asking you to come back. I just think we should talk like adults." I muted her number. A week went by then too. Vanessa, one of Bella's old friends, texted me out of nowhere. "Vanessa, hey, just want you to know, I get it now. I used to think you were too quiet, too passive, but I see what actually happened. Bella's been a mess lately, crying to everyone. Eric dumped her like 5 days in." I read the message twice. 5 days. That's how long her soul connection lasted. Apparently, Eric told her she was too intense, said she was draining and too emotionally dependent, which honestly is exactly what she once accused me of, because I cared enough to ask questions when she started acting distant. Vanessa added one more thing. "I'm not taking sides, but people are seeing it now. She romanticized dysfunction. You never had a chance." I didn't reply to Vanessa. I didn't want to be pulled into it, but I appreciated the honesty. That same night, I checked Bella's social media. I shouldn't have, but curiosity won. Her Instagram, once filled with cutesy selfies and filtered coffee mugs, was now unhinged. All black and white photos, crying eyes, quotes like, "You can't lose someone who was never really yours. The calm ones always hurt you in silence." I wish I'd known that safety isn't the same as love. I could practically hear her trying to frame herself as the misunderstood poet of her own downfall. Comments were turned off. A few days later, Matt told me that Bella tried reaching out to Lena, his fiancée. She messaged her on Facebook, "Can you just tell Daniel, I didn't mean for any of this to happen like it did. He's being really cruel by ignoring me. He knows I spiral when people abandon me." That word, again, abandon. Funny how she rebranded cheating into a trauma response. Meanwhile, I was finally sleeping again, eating better, designing more. I landed 2 new freelance clients in 1 week. My brother's guest room started to feel like my own space. Bella, on the other hand, was spiraling. She posted one of her old short stories on Medium. I recognized the plot. A woman in a relationship with a controlling, passive-aggressive man who used silence as a weapon. The main character cheats and it's framed as empowering. The ending, she's alone, misunderstood, and the reader is supposed to feel sorry for her. It had 3 likes. One was her own. She followed it with another quote post. "Some people only love the version of you that they can control." Projection, line by line. I still hadn't said a word to her. Not a single text, not a call, not even a scene receipt. And that's when her messages shifted from confused to desperate. "Bella, I get it. You're punishing me with silence. Congrats. You win. I'm miserable. Eric was a mistake. I was vulnerable. I didn't know what I wanted, but I always came home to you. Doesn't that mean anything?" Then a voicemail. Her voice cracked halfway through. "I know I hurt you, okay? But I was confused. You were so perfect that it made me feel broken. Like, how could I deserve you? And when Eric came back into my life, I thought maybe he was some kind of test. I didn't plan to feel things for him. It just happened. But he wasn't you. And now I see that. So yeah, please call me." I went for a walk instead, bought myself a good coffee, came back and worked on a logo design for a small indie bookshop that reminded me of the kind Bella used to say she wanted to open one day. That night, I slept for 8 hours straight for the first time in a month. A couple weeks after that voicemail, Bella stopped pretending she had dignity left. She sent me a photo of an old note I'd written her during our first year together. It said, "You make coming home the best part of my day." I remembered writing it. I left it on a pillow one night when she was doubting herself. "Bella, do you still remember writing this? Did none of it mean anything to you?" I didn't answer. She followed it with a paragraph-long message. No punctuation, no breaks, just a frantic stream of text. "Bella, I missed the way you looked at me, like I was whole even when I wasn't. And I know I pushed you away, but it was never because I didn't love you. It was because I didn't know how to love myself." And Eric just made me feel seen for a second, but it wasn't real. It was never real. And now I'm stuck, and you won't even talk to me. And it's killing me because you were my person. That one, I didn't even finish reading because by then I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't heartbroken. I was removed, like she was someone I used to know from a different part of my life. I didn't want to revisit. I'd already found a new apartment. Small but clean. White walls, hardwood floors, no memories baked into the corners. I got a big desk for my design work, a cheap coffee maker, and a plant I named Felix. That little place felt more like home than anything I'd had with her. I started waking up before my alarm. I stopped checking her socials. I started listening to music again, something I didn't even realize I'd stopped doing. Then came the final stage of her unraveling the guilt bombs. Bella, you seriously just threw away 2 years like they were nothing. When you were unemployed and depressed, I was the one who held you up. I gave you everything. Now you won't even look at me. You owe me at least a conversation. That word "owe" stuck in my head. As if my silence was some form of debt. As if my only value was being someone she could lean on when it suited her. Then, out of nowhere, she showed up at my new place. I hadn't given her the address. I can only guess that Lena told Vanessa, who told Bella. It was a Saturday morning. I was having coffee, reading through client emails, still in sweatpants. There was a knock. I opened the door without thinking. Bella, she looked awful. Dark circles under her eyes. Greasy hair tied up like she hadn't showered. Oversized hoodie, probably Eric's. No makeup, no filter. I stepped out and closed the door behind me. Daniel, she breathed, as if she'd just run a marathon. Can we talk? I don't think that's a good idea. Please, she said. Just 5 minutes. I'm not here to beg. I raised an eyebrow. She laughed once brittle. Okay, maybe a little begging. We sat on the concrete steps outside my building. She folded her hands in her lap, staring at the ground. You hurt me, she started. More than I thought was possible. That almost made me laugh. Almost. You ghosted me, Daniel. You didn't even try to fix it. You just walked away like I was trash. I nodded slowly. You said it wasn't cheating. You said it was closure and that I wouldn't understand. She flinched. You're quoting me now. I'm reflecting. I said, you wanted emotional honesty. I gave it to you. She shook her head. I was scared. I thought Eric could help me understand myself. He reminded me of who I used to be. And who was that? I asked calmly. She didn't answer. You didn't want help understanding yourself. I said you wanted to feel, wanted by someone new. And when the novelty wore off, you came back looking for what you threw away. I didn't throw you away. She snapped. I got confused. Confused people don't kiss their exes and justify it as personal growth. Silence. Then she tried to soften. Look, I know I messed up, but we were good together, Daniel. I could see us finding our way back. You were home to me. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized that I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not desire, not even disappointment. She was just gone, like a shadow I'd walked out from under. So I stood up. I'm not your home anymore, I said. I don't think I ever really was. You were just passing through until you found something more exciting. She looked up, eyes watering. You're really not going to give me another chance? I smiled politely. No, but I hope you find what you're looking for, just not here. I walked back inside and locked the door. She didn't knock again. She never reached out again after that day on the steps. Not directly, at least. But every now and then I'd hear about her through other people. Vanessa messaged me once, maybe a month after the doorstep encounter. Just for your information, Bella's telling people you emotionally abandoned her. She says she tried to reconcile and you refused to grow. I thought you should know. I thanked her and asked her not to send me updates anymore. Bella could spin the story however she wanted. The people who mattered knew the truth and the rest. Let them believe whatever made them feel important. Her social media went full spiral after that. I didn't check, but Lena showed me one post out of sheer disbelief. Bella had started a healing account. All cryptic quotes, untagged selfies and captions like sometimes the Carl's people are the most dangerous. Don't confuse silence with peace. She had 2 followers and 4 likes. I was done caring. By then, I'd started dating again, not rushing, just meeting people, figuring out who I was without someone draining me. I met someone quietly without drama. Her name's Elise. Kind, sharp, and grounded. She doesn't need to be understood by chaos. She's already emotionally fluent in peace. One evening, months later, I ran into Vanessa and a couple of Bella's old friends at a mutual acquaintance's birthday party. I hadn't expected to be invited, but apparently people had picked sides and I wasn't on the losing one. Vanessa hugged me. You look good. Like actually good, calm, confident, like you slept for once. I sleep better when I'm not being gaslit, I said with a smirk. The others laughed. One of them, her name was Rachel, leaned in and whispered. She thought she could fix you and now she's the one writing breakup poetry on Twitter to an audience of no one. I just shook my head. There's nothing to fix. As we talked, I spotted Bella across the room. She hadn't seen me yet. She looked faded. Same old hoodie-style fashion, unbrushed hair, tied up holding a drink. She wasn't really sipping. She was talking to someone, but she wasn't present, just floating, drifting, like someone who had lost the script she used to perform. Then she saw me. For a second, her face lit up, like she might come over. Maybe she thought I'd offer a polite wave, a smile, a moment of shared nostalgia. But I didn't do anything. I didn't look away either. I just looked through her like she was another guest at a party. I didn't need to speak to. She blinked, hesitated, then turned back toward the bar. That was the last time I saw her. She's not part of my story anymore. These days, I live a smaller but better life. A clean apartment filled with sunlight and peace. No raised voices, no guessing games, no emotional riddles masquerading as growth. Elise and I spend our weekends walking to bookstores, cooking together, or just reading in the same room. She doesn't make me feel like I'm missing something for being calm. She says the first time she's felt like she could exhale around someone. Sometimes I think about what Bella said. I didn't cheat. I just reconnected with someone who actually gets me. It makes me laugh now because I did reconnect with myself. The version of me who had boundaries, who didn't accept being a placeholder for someone else's chaos. And as for Bella, well, she was right about one thing. She needed someone who could handle her. I just stopped wanting to, and that was the end of it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.